Johnny Depp and the Kardashians take the stand in two messy court battles. Netflix nosedives while CNN Plus is in trouble. And we got our first look at Thor, Love and Thunder. Natalie Portman has a hammer.
It's all coming up right now on The Take. Hey everyone, and welcome to The Take. I'm Elizabeth Wagmeister.
And I'm Clayton Davis, and we're here to give you our take on some of the week's biggest stories. And there have been some big stories this week.
Some very big stories, and let's start with the story that everybody is talking about. The public unraveling of Johnny Depp continues as he is suing his ex-wife Amber Heard for $50 million. The two are in court in a trial that is expected to last 6 weeks and is well underway. Johnny Depp himself took the stand this past week with some shocking and disturbing details that came out through his testimony and through his cross-examination. A lot to get into here, but I think first we just have to talk about what this means for both Johnny Depp's career and also for Amber Heard's career. I mean, this was, for Johnny Depp, one of the biggest stars in Hollywood history. I mean, 10 years ago, he was the most lucrative star in Hollywood. And to see his fall from grace over the past few years, to me, it feels like no matter what happens in a court of law, in the court of public opinion, the decision has already been made. And anytime that you have details coming out that revolve around drugs and texts that came out on the stand where Johnny Depp and Paul Bettany, by the way, were joking about killing Amber Heard. Whatever people think about Amber Heard or Johnny Depp, these details just aren't good, and certainly no movie studio is going to want to attach themselves to him after this.
Yeah, and I think this brings about our involvement as the media, the public, in a very private couple dispute that's happening. It's very ugly, and again, I don't know where the public really stands on it. I know that studios have stepped away from him, but I don't think a lot of people have all the facts and knowledge. And the fact that Johnny Depp is fighting back. He already lost that case in London, and now he's bringing it to the U.S. No matter what happens at the end, I kind of feel like both of them lose in this regard, because I don't think anyone's going to really want to attach themselves to Amber Heard, because it's just going to bring about that controversy. And we have to remember that because of this kind of pocket of support for Johnny Depp, Mini Mata was in the top 10 Oscar fan favorites, an independent film that no one saw. But it's having an effect somewhat in the Hollywood sphere.
We will keep you updated on that. Obviously, a lot more to come in the Depp versus Heard case, but that's not the only case that is happening in Hollywood this week. The Kardashians were brought to court by Blac Chyna. Now, if you don't remember her, she was Rob Kardashian's ex-fiance, and they had their own reality show on E! Called Rob and Chyna, which lasted for a year. Well, now Blac Chyna is suing the Kardashians for $100 million in a defamation case where she says that the family ruined her television career. I'm very curious to hear your thoughts on this. It's been, again, a messy trial, a lot of personal details coming out on the stand, but what really surprised a lot of people is the Kardashian and Jenner family was actually in court. They were there for jury selection. They are being called to the stand. So this is really, again, Hollywood airing dirty laundry. No one ever wants to be attached to that.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it is such insider baseball of Hollywood. I don't know how much the general public are aware of Blac Chyna's suit. Obviously, they're following the Kardashians right now because their show is one of the biggest premieres in history on a streaming platform. So I don't know how much it's going to give them in terms of bad or good press. I think people are just going to keep trying to follow the tea leaves and see where they lead. But it's all very strange, and Blac Chyna's case here seems to be a lot of who cares?
That case has another week to go, so we'll see how it shakes out.
Yeah, but speaking of streamers, let's move to Netflix. During their earnings release this week, they revealed that the streamer lost 200,000 subscribers in the first quarter of 2022. They also project they will lose another 2 million in the second quarter of this year. Following the announcement, their market capital dropped $54 billion, that's billion, and close out the stock market 35% down, their largest drop in history. This is insane. So Reed Hastings, co-CEO, has shared that they blame it on a competitive market. We have HBO Max. We have every streamer that's known to man playing into the game now. But now what they're exploring, they also said 100 million people are sharing passwords. They have about 221 million subscribers. So we know that they're testing a model to, add more money to charge more money for sharing passwords for the platform. And then further down, they're looking at an ad-supported option, lower costs, which, by the way, could bring something like the Oscars to a streaming platform because it's a good way to sell some ads. So
that's what you're rooting for. You're like, I don't care about any of this, just bring the Oscars to a
streaming platform. I mean, we need to do that. But I think Netflix is trying to explore some new territory for itself and seeing what the cap is on households having a streaming service.
Yeah, I mean, for Netflix, they've been the leader for so long. They obviously really started the whole streaming craze, which is the norm. And let's be honest, everyone still wants to be Netflix, even with this. But the question is now, where do they go from here? Because this is the first time they've had any subscriber loss in their history. And they were actually expecting to add a few million subscribers, not lose. So this is why Wall Street is reacting so strongly. But good news for Netflix, it could be a lot worse, because this week Variety actually broke the exclusive news that CNN Plus, which is CNN's brand new streaming service, is shutting down just about a month after it launched. Some of the shows never even launched, and I think this really just shows across the board in the industry there is so much competition. As you mentioned, everyone wants their presence in streaming. It's really hard to get people to pay money to subscribe, especially when they could just turn on the TV and watch CNN. But obviously this plays into a much larger issue for CNN, which is the big Warner Media Discovery merger that obviously played a huge part here.
So Warner Media, now in its second week, also discussed a whole overhaul of DC Entertainment. It was an exclusive here by our colleagues at Variety. DC is in big trouble. They in terms of the messaging and the world that they're trying to, like Marvel Studios, Marvel Cinematic Universe, Kevin Feige, they're saying that they want their own Kevin Feige and more movies like Joker. Kevin Feige would never make a movie like Joker, but I think they want an architect like Kevin Feige that can stitch this all together, and this comes right now as the Batman hits HBO Max. And the second week of Warner Brothers Discovery is going to be an interesting thing to watch, because what are they going to do with this big tentpole franchise of the DC world? And I don't know what the next iteration of that is going to be.
But obviously a lot of changes. It's not a surprise. Anytime there's a merger of this stature, there are going to be new changes with new leadership. But obviously, definitely an overhaul of DC is huge. And this isn't just because of the merger. DC has been second fiddle to Marvel for a long time. And they have had some great hits like Wonder Woman, but they have still wanted to figure out how they can really get to the next level.
Yep. Superheroes still on our mind. Thor, Love and Thunder revealed its first trailer. We got our look at Chris Hemsworth losing some weight, growing his hair back, and even the biceps of Natalie Portman, proving that there isn't just one god. She's holding Thor's hammer. We're excited for it. I'm just really excited to see what this next iteration of Thor is going to be. I love Thor Ragnarok so much. I think it's the best of the Thor movies. And it'll be interesting to see with Guardians of the Galaxy people in the film what this phase 4 Marvel is heading, because I still don't know if we know who the big bad villain is yet. We had Thanos before, and I know I'm speaking very nerdy to you right now, but we need to know who the bad guy is. Is it Mephisto, as many people thought, or is it someone else? I don't know.
You are speaking nerd. I love it. I could tell that we could continue. Well, you could continue to talk about this forever and ever, but unfortunately, we've got to go. We are out of time. Thank you, as always, for joining us right here on The Take, and we will see you back on Friday.
Thanks for watching.